Language is your currency. The way you speak is the very first thing people use to measure who you are and what you bring to the table. Long before they see your work ethic, long before they understand your skill set, and long before they know your story, they are forming judgments based on your language. Elite performers understand this truth deeply, and that's why they never treat words casually. They know that the words they choose either elevate their presence or diminish it. Think about language like money. Every single word you use is like a coin being spent. Some words build value, some words cheapen it, and some words are so careless that they leave you bankrupt in influence. One of the first things the top 1% eliminate is filler. Words like kinda, or drain confidence out of a sentence. They signal hesitation, doubt, or lack of preparation. Instead, elite communicators learn the power of silence. They know that a pause, when used with intention, carries more weight than a string of weak fillers. A pause tells the audience that you are in control, that you're not rushing, that your message matters enough to let it breathe. The top 1% never let nervous chatter dilute their words. Another difference is precision. The elite don't overcomplicate their language with unnecessary jargon or big words designed to impress. They speak with clarity, cutting away fluff and leaving only what matters. Their sentences are structured to land, not to ramble. This isn't about being robotic. It's about being intentional. Every word is chosen to add value, to hold attention, and to communicate authority. When they speak, you feel the weight of their words because nothing is wasted, nothing is accidental. Language is also about rhythm. The best communicators speak with flow. They know how to vary their pace, when to quicken the tempo to create energy, and when to slow down to draw the listener in. They understand that language is not just information. It's music, it's cadence. It's a tool to not only inform, but to engage on an emotional level. This ability to use rhythm and intentionality turns ordinary sentences into memorable ones, creating impact long after the words have been spoken. Communicate with absolute clarity. Clarity is one of the greatest advantages the top 1% have in their communication. They understand that if people don't grasp what is being said, then influence is lost instantly. Confusion erodes trust, and without trust, no one will buy into your vision, your leadership, or your ideas. Elite communicators know that clarity is not about dumbing things down, but about stripping away the unnecessary. They remove clutter so the message shines through, and in doing so, they make their words unforgettable. When you listen to someone who communicates with clarity, you notice how direct they are. They get to the point without circling around it. They know exactly what they want to say before they say it, and that preparation shows in the delivery. Their words are precise, their examples relevant, and their message structured in a way that is easy to follow. Instead of long, winding explanations that leave people guessing, they use clean, simple language that everyone can connect with. Clarity also means discipline. It takes discipline to eliminate the filler and resist the urge to over-explain. It takes discipline to speak in short, impactful sentences instead of hiding behind complexity. The 1% know that being clear requires effort and intention, but the payoff is that people walk away not only understanding what was said, but being able to repeat it to others. A clear message spreads further because it is easy to carry. Another critical part of clarity is confidence. The clearer you are, the more confident you sound. Confidence does not come from speaking the loudest or using the most impressive vocabulary. It comes from delivering a message in such a straightforward way that there is no room for doubt about what you mean. Elite communicators cut away ambiguity. They say exactly what they intend to say, and because of that, their words land with authority and conviction. The ability to communicate with absolute clarity creates a powerful sense of alignment. People know where you stand, what you expect, and what the outcome should be. That kind of communication builds trust, accelerates decisions, and allows people to move forward with certainty. It is the hallmark of someone who leads with strength through their words. command the room with your presence, the elite understand that speaking is not only about words, it is about the presence you bring into the room before you even say a single thing. Presence communicates confidence, power, and authority in a way that words alone cannot. When you watch someone who commands the room, you notice how people turn toward them almost instinctively. Their energy is magnetic because they know how to use their body language, their eye contact, and their tone to communicate strength without trying too hard. Posture is the first step in presence. Shoulders back, head held high, movements deliberate instead of rushed or fidgety. These subtle cues tell the audience that you belong, that you are grounded, that you are not second guessing yourself. Elite communicators walk into the space like they own it, not in arrogance but in certainty. Their presence alone sets the expectation that what they are about to say carries importance. Voice is the next layer. It's not just about volume, it's about control. The 1% know how to modulate their tone to draw people in or to emphasize a point. They avoid monotone delivery because they know monotone equals forgettable. Instead, they use variation, rhythm, and pauses strategically. A pause at the right moment makes the audience lean forward, waiting for what comes next. Raising the tone slightly creates energy, while lowering it brings gravity. This vocal mastery amplifies the message and keeps attention locked in. Eye contact is another hallmark of presence. Elite communicators don't scatter their gaze around the room nervously. They lock eyes, creating a direct connection with the audience. Even in a large crowd, they make individuals feel seen. That moment of connection builds trust and signals that they are not just speaking at people, they are speaking to them. Presence is the invisible force that makes people listen before they even process the message. It turns ordinary words into authority and transforms a simple delivery into a memorable experience. The 1% know that presence is the multiplier that gives their language power. Speak from vision, not just information. The difference between average communication and elite communication is the ability to move beyond facts and into vision. Information alone is forgettable. Statistics, numbers, and technical details fade quickly from memory, but vision stays because it connects to emotion. The top 1% know that people are not driven by data alone. They are driven by meaning, by a sense of possibility, by the belief that something bigger can be achieved. When they speak, they don't just tell you what is happening, they show you what could happen. Speaking from vision means painting a picture so vivid that people can see themselves inside of it. It's about making the future feel real before it exists. A visionary communicator doesn't say, "We need to grow the company by 20%. They say, "Imagine what happens when we reach more people than ever before. When our work changes the lives of thousands more families, when every person in this room looks back and says, 'I was part of that.'" That is how they ignite belief. They don't just share goals, they create emotional investment. This style of communication also requires conviction. To speak from vision, you must believe it yourself first. The top 1% never waver in their tone or their delivery when casting vision. Even if challenges are ahead, their words are laced with confidence, not doubt. That conviction transfers to the listener, and suddenly what seemed impossible begins to feel attainable. Visionary speaking is also about connection. It ties the listener's role to the larger mission. Instead of presenting dry instructions, elite communicators help people see how their contribution moves the entire vision forward. This creates ownership, alignment, and motivation because people no longer feel like passive participants. They feel like builders of something significant. The power of vision is that it transforms communication from mere transfer of knowledge into a spark that fuels belief. It turns ordinary leadership into influence that lasts long after the conversation ends. Make every word lead to action. The elite understand that the true purpose of communication is not simply to be heard, but to drive forward movement. Words without action are just noise, and noise does not create impact. When the top 1% speak, every phrase is carefully directed toward an outcome. They are not filling time, they are shifting perspectives, creating decisions, and inspiring change. Their communication always carries a clear next step because they know influence is measured by what happens after the words have been spoken. Making every word lead to action requires intention. It means being crystal clear about the goal of the conversation before it even begins. Elite communicators ask themselves, what do I want my audience to do after this? And then shape their message around that outcome. They do not leave their listeners guessing. Whether it is motivating a team to push harder, persuading a client to commit, or inspiring a crowd to rethink their potential, their words are engineered to point people toward action. They also understand urgency. A powerful message loses momentum if it feels optional or vague. The 1% know how to use language that instills the importance of acting now rather than later. They don't dilute their words with hesitation or weak suggestions. Instead, they speak with authority, confidence, and clarity, leaving no doubt that the action they are calling for matters. Another key aspect is alignment between words and energy. The best communicators do not simply issue instructions, they embody the action they want others to take. Their tone, body language, and conviction match their call to action, which makes their words believable and compelling. People follow because they feel the authenticity, not just the directive. This ability to turn language into movement is what separates those who sound good from those who actually create impact. Every word is a stepping stone leading the listener closer to change, and every message becomes a catalyst that transforms ideas into reality.